Hello, today we are going to talk about the trip planning. Also, the things that we should consider before you go to the trip, some navigation systems you can use, and risks related with the trip in general. So let's go for the first slide. The journey time depends mainly on the length of the planned journey. So of course you should consider if you travel somewhere in Estonia, it's not a big journey, so you can handle it in one day. But if you travel between countries, some big cities, then of course it's going to be quite big journey. You have to consider how many distance you have to drive and some other things as well. So we are going to discuss it in the next slides also. And the journey time it takes while driving. So you also should consider if you are driving somewhere abroad in another country, you should understand that you are going to drive quite a lot. So usually, officially we can say it's allowed to drive 8 hours, because after that it's dangerous, you will be too tired and better not to do that. I can say that in in all actually European countries, for the truck drivers, because they do the job of driving mostly, it's allowed to drive maximum 8 hours. It's not limited for the casual drivers, but still you should understand that if you're driving more than that, you will be very tired and exhausted. And the driver's own ability to drive without the rest. So if you're a junior driver, you got a license recently, so it also will be quite hard for you to make a long distance with the first day. So in that case, you also should consider that. Here we have an example. From Tallinn to Tartu, you have 180 kilometers. How long does it take for you to get there? So you can see on the Waze, or if you open the Google map, you will see the same. It will take you around 2 hours to get there. But in that case, how do you think? Do you manage to drive at the maximum allowed speed limit all the time? Because Google Maps make a road for you considering the maximum allowed speed. Or what do you need to consider when planning a road in that case? So we should understand that if you are driving somewhere, anything can happen on the road. You can have an accident, traffic jam, construction works on the road. And that's why it's a little bit more dangerous, and it can be, of course, it can take more time to get to the point. Or you have some other weather conditions like you can see on the picture. So of course, in that case, you cannot drive always 90. If you are out of the city, you will be driving slowly. And of course, your journey will take more time. And this is the thing you should also think about. If you are traveling to another place or city, always take some time in advance to reach the city, and try not to be too much within the limits that usually Google Maps show for you, for example. And here we also can see one more time, what exactly we should consider. As I said, road conditions, for example, it can be under construction, traffic volume, it also can be traffic jams ahead, even on the highway sometimes it can happen, weather conditions, slippery road or too much rain, road construction works, and breaks for rest. Because sometimes, of course, you cannot drive all the way or 3 or 2 hours without resting. So, of course, you'll take some coffee pause, or you need to tank your car. And, of course, your journey will take more time in that case. Also, sometimes Google Maps show you that you have to reach some place. It shows you that you have 90 kilometers per hour there because you are driving outside of the build-up area. But if you are driving really in some, let's say, forest areas or maybe some village areas, you should consider that some roads are not allowing you to drive 90 there. Of course, Google Maps cannot see all the roads, and that's why it's a little bit difficult, and you should understand that. So sometimes roads can be like this, you see on the pictures. It can be too much slippery or gravel road, it can be too much holes in the road, and in that case, you should understand that you cannot drive 90 there, but still, some navigation system will show you that it's allowed to drive there 90. And also, you should consider these moments also when you are driving. The longer the journey, the more difficult it is to plan the trip. So the following must be considered. Vehicle condition level for driving. So before you go to the long journey, I recommend you to have diagnostics on your car and to understand if it's possible to drive a long journey. If you have an old car, it's especially important in that case. The necessary equipment, for example, fire extinguisher or first aid kit or some repairments and all these things. Necessary breaks for rest. If you have a long journey, you should understand that you are going to stop somewhere to have some food, to have some drinks, or maybe fueling. Driver's amount. If you are driving abroad, sometimes it's also good if you are having different or several drivers in your car. So one driver can rest, another driver can drive, and it will be easier for you to manage it. Overnight and refueling facilities as well, so it's quite clear. As I already mentioned before, it's especially important to have a car in good technical condition for a long journey. It's better to check it before the trip. Now we're going to talk about risks related with navigation systems. So nowadays we have quite a lot of them. So it can be casual GPS, it can be installed GPS in your car. So new cars usually have it. It can be Waze or Google Maps or casual maps if you like it. So let's talk about the risks now. So when you are driving 90 on the highway, 90 kilometers per hour, of course, you should understand that you are passing 25 meters in 1 second. So if you look at the GPS for 4 seconds, your car will travel around 100 meters in that time. So as you understand, it's quite dangerous. Imagine you just pass in only 4 seconds, you pass 100 meters and everything can happen on the road, but you are not looking at the road at this moment. So animal can be on the road, or maybe some pedestrians can be accidentally there. So some maybe natural disaster can happen accidentally. So that's why it's quite risky to follow the GPS system all the time. That's why I recommend you to use GPS voice guidance in that case. Traffic signs are also convenient to use in unfamiliar places. If you do not know the local language, you can use the service numbers. They are marked on the cards as well as on the signs. So as you remember, on the first lessons we talked about that different signs, information boards, they also have road numbers. So sometimes they don't even have the name, just have road numbers. So if you know that you need to use this road number, for example, E77, then always follow this E77 on all the information boards, and you will reach the point accordingly. So it's quite also comfortable to drive, even in other European countries. So mostly all European countries, they have the same system. And what is the difference between these two signs? Also, maybe you remember from the first or second lesson we talked about that basically if you are driving on the road and this road is going, for example, to Pärnu, let's say this road number goes to Pärnu, then it will be solid around, as you see here. But if you are not on this road and it's not Pärnu direction, you will see this kind of a sign, and it's breakable line around. It's showing you that you are crossing this Pärnu road, and if you want to go to Pärnu direction, then you have to change your direction. So that's the main point. Even more experienced driver can make a mistake while planning the road. What should you do if you are late or you are not in time somewhere? So of course you don't have to look at watch all the time, otherwise you will be making mistakes quite oftenly. Try to disable your negative emotions, because then you are not controlling yourself, and again, accidentally you can make some very stupid mistake and get to the accident. Concentrate on driving and don't make any spontaneous decisions. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed that, and see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.